you. Fair enough. Oh, let's fucking this light off, shall we? Alright. Whatever. No one's gonna complain, are they? They're gonna be like, yo, what a dick, bro. Whoa. We don't want that, yo. No. Look at, nope, no, not that, no. Well, hope that was entertaining for somebody. Anyway, so I just wanted to get on here and see if anybody jumped on the bandwagon to tell, maybe get in the comments and post, type whether or not you've ever had a encounter in the woods. Well, before we get to that, let's just preface everything by saying if you're a rockhound, then I can deduce with a fair amount of certainty that you are someone into nature, someone drawn to nature. You love the outdoors, more than likely. If you love the outdoors and you love rockhounding, more than likely you've been rockhounding creeks, rivers, streams, tributaries, wherever you get your rocks. And more than likely you've been in the woods. Now, the funny correlation, we'll get to this in a minute, but just to say that, I would imagine there is a massive overlap in the rockhound community when it comes to the topic of Bigfoot. And I say that because we're all outdoors all the time, and I know a lot of like the big, let me shrink this. No, no, back. I know a lot of like the main Bigfoot like sites and presences online, and like the BFRO and all these people, like they will claim that a majority of Bigfoot sightings come from hunters and stuff. But you never hear about like just regular rockhounds. I guess because rockhounding is typically like a let me turn this fuck awful light up. Alright. Because broke it. Rockhounding is typically something that is like part of your what you do already. Like you might be hunting and rockhounding or whatever, you know. Most of the time, you know, people don't just say like, well, what do you do? I'm a rockhound. It's usually like an ancillary or secondary thing. Or correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, imagine how many rockhounds have been out there looking for rocks and shit and had like a boulder thrown at them or something. And I only bring that up because when I used to go to college in New York at a place called the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, and I used to live in a town called New Paltz, and New Paltz is really close to Poughkeepsie / Hyde Park. It's like an hour and a half north of like the city of New York. Let me take this off here. Anyway, it's a beautiful area, big like rolling mountains. It's like everything, all the mountains and landscapes, the last part of the word is always kill, like cats kill mountains, and kill I think means creek or something, in native language. Anyway, I was 20 years old. I wasn't 21 yet. And on my weekend, I would go up into the mountains, and I don't know if you've ever been to New York, like not the city, in like the actual cool part of New York, and gone out and seen like how beautiful the nature is there. It's stunning. Well, anyway, big ass rolling mountains. I used to go like hiking, and I was just getting into rock hounding. I was like 20 years old, and I don't remember the place, but I know it was like, I don't remember exactly where the place was. It was like 10 minutes from where I lived, and I would drive up there. Sometimes I'd take my friends. Well, this one weekend I just went alone because my roommate, went home to see his parents for the weekend. Anyway, I got up there and I started like hiking, and it led kind of around the side of this mountain, and you could catch like a little bit off trail. You could hear water running, and it was like a like more like a stream, not quite a creek, not, you know, like in between. And I would walk off trail maybe 20 yards to go look at this thing, and I was totally alone. And at the time I didn't notice it, but thinking back on it, I totally can see like all these other things that happened that I didn't notice. But I was walking towards this little creek by myself. I'm 20 years old, and it's just the end of like summertime, so it was starting to get cool. and the leaves hadn't quite turned yet, but it was cool out. And I'm just walking, and all I realized, all I could hear were my footsteps, and it was this weird feeling that it took me like years to recall this. But now I remember it, having that thought. Well, I got to the stream, and I just remember how quiet the woods was. It was, stunningly quiet. It was unbelievably fucking quiet, to the point that it creeped me out, and to the point that for the rest of my life since then, I've always associated like that eerie quiet, that deafening quiet. I've always associated that with something like profound, or something life changing is going to happen, and I notice it all the time. Anyway, I got to the stream. I took note of this like absence of bugs, critters, animals, wind, and I'm like picking up rocks, and like the noise that I'm making is so loud to me, but it's just like the sound of like mud sucking, and you pull a rock up, and then hearing it in your hand, throwing it back in the little stream. And I noticed after a while I was getting like nervous, but I kind of would walk up and down, and I could see the trail. I wasn't lost by any means, and all of a sudden I just heard this, and I had no idea what it was, but it scared the shit out of me, and it sounded like it was 100 yards away, maybe a little closer than that, but it was enough to where the sound of it sounded like, like someone took a fucking dryer or a washing machine and tossed it through the woods. It was like, I'm assuming it was a rock. I don't know what it was. It absolutely terrified me, and I kind of froze, and just like kind of couldn't control my emotions. Like, it was weird, man. I don't know. I felt really fucking weird about it, and I was about to walk off the trail, and I heard a bunch of like clattering sticks and leaves and shit, like way on the other side of the trail, and it freaked me out. And I knew it wasn't an animal, because I got back on the trail, and I'm like briskly walking, and like telling myself like, oh, they must be doing something up here. There's like no one up there. I'm like, oh, something's going on, because I had to like drive down a road that you're not even supposed to go down, and all this shit. But anyway, I'm like 100 yards, 150 yards from my car, and I heard like this coordinated, like, just imagine if two people were on either side of you in the woods, but they were 20 yards away from each side, and then they were back 15, 20 yards. And I started walking real fast, and I would hear like on each side, like somebody like escorting me out of the woods, to the point where like when I got to like the main part where you could park, where you used to park when they used to let people go there. I think they closed it down for some logging, or something to do. They were building a road or whatever. But man, when I got to the end there, like, it stopped. And when I got in my car, man, had like a panic attack, because at the time I was dealing with like my first bouts of anxiety. I'd never really had to deal with that before, and I was going to college, and I was like calling my parents on the weekend having anxiety attacks, and at the time I was still learning what the hell that was, and I'm like getting in my car like I can't breathe, and I'm like wanting to jump out of my skin. I've never been that scared in my life ever since then, and like totally like have almost died twice. One time arguably you could say I died, but like I've never been that scared again, and it always was like a seed in the back of my mind whenever I'd hear someone bring up Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Just all the crazy ass stories you hear, and I got to thinking like it has to exist, like 100% has to exist. What's up, bushcrafter, Tennessee bushcrafter? Can I call you that? I'm looking for people's Bigfoot and Sasquatch stories, or what you think it is. Like, what does everyone? Let me say this: to deny, if you're someone who says Bigfoot is not real, the phenomenon known as Bigfoot is all fabrication, is all folks, is just all stories and folklore and bullshit, like, you're crazy. The phenomenon, it's so well documented. And at this point in the game, you're calling millions of people over generations liars. Like, it's undeniable. It's real. Just like the UFO thing that the government finally has come out to talk about. Like, we're in that ballpark with this shit. And I've had other things happen to me since then that I was able to, like, basically, check off in my mind that was 100% a Bigfoot. I've heard something that I hope isn't a Bigfoot, because it was like, I don't want to ever see one. It was the scariest fucking sound. I'm still to this day thinking like there's kids back there with like a giant speaker playing like the Sierra sounds. I don't know if you've ever heard those, but I don't know, man. I'm just spitballing here. Upper northwest. Yeah, man. I mean, fair enough. And call me crazy for this, but I'm not even in the realm of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. I'm not even sure that they are necessarily a strictly biological creature phenomenon, like stuck in this 3D reality that we call life. It's gonna be out there, but my theory. But like, a lot of people think that, and maybe it is that they're just that good at hiding and migrating in peace and quiet. But some of the stuff I've heard people say with absolute conviction in their eyes that I trust is just too, it's like, oh, sorry, it's like too much to be coincidence. It's too, you couldn't exist on this plane and pull off some of the stuff that they have. I have seen structures around here where I live, like tree structures, whatever you want to call it. And obviously you can't prove anything with that. But people, it could be people. But when I've taken pictures of them, I've gone online to look up like other people's structures they find, and they're almost identical for whatever that says, like they're just sticks. But I don't know. I recently have just started coming back to Jesus a little bit. I'm trying to get back to my religious side, and the whole Nephilim hypothesis is really attractive to me for some reason. But people in Georgia, yeah. Oh man, I don't know if you know who this is, bushcrafter, but this guy Scott Carpenter. Have you ever heard his name? If you have, just put it down. Man, he passed away a few months ago. I think like the beginning of the year. It wasn't too long ago, and he had a brain aneurysm. But just type in Scott Carpenter Bigfoot on YouTube and look him up. Rest in peace, Scott. I love that dude. Loved him. He was so authentic, and he was so like humble. And well, yeah, dude, if you're interested in this topic at all, bushcrafter, type Scott Carpenter YouTube in. I mean, I hate to send one of my like 8 people watching to go somewhere else, but just type it in when you get a chance and check it out. His people have made fun of him, saying that the stuff he shows is like blob squatch and you can't see it, and you can see it. Look up Scott Carpenter Dog Man. I'm from Baltimore. Well, I'm not in Baltimore, right? Well, sort of. I'm right outside of Baltimore, Maryland, like north. It's called Harford County, Maryland. But yeah, look him up, man. And the dog man creature thing he recorded is unfucking real. Like, you'll lose your mind seeing that. It actually like changed my whole paradigm seeing that. It changed a lot of things for me, and like re-sparked my interest in this stuff, because I was kind of like a denier for a while after I had my little experience 20 years ago. Jesus, 18 years ago. But yeah, man, Scott Carpenter's awesome. Oh, you were born in Baltimore? Sorry, man. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'll take it, man. But I mean, I think people have to wake up to the fact that there is at least a phenomenon happening. There's something happening that we can't explain in the woods, and like, not just the woods, in life in general, but especially in the woods. 2 people It's not. There's no way that there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people that have had experiences that are not explainable with like the normal, laws of our reality, or even by our list of mammals or animals or whatever you want to call it. Like, there's nothing in our realm right now that can explain some of this shit that happens to people. And if you check out guys like Dave Paulides, I've read a couple of his books, and then I started watching his YouTube channel, his missing 411 stuff. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of people missing since the beginning of like the 1900s, but especially lately, and it's all concentrated in these certain spots, right? He lived on the peninsula. You were born in Baltimore. You lived on the peninsula. Yeah. Dude, how long have you, Chrisfield? Why don't I know where that is? Am I stupid, man? I don't know where that is. Tennessee's beautiful. I want to go back to Tennessee really bad. I used to live in South Carolina, and then I moved back here when I had my babies. But yeah, man, I just spontaneously popped up on here. I'm glad I did this little live so I could meet somebody. That's cool. Subscribe to the channel, man. I'll subscribe to yours. Oh, it's an hour from Ocean City. Were you on the Eastern Shore? Or trying to think where you were. I was gonna like minimize the tab on my phone like an idiot, thinking like, oh, I'm just messing around online. I think for sure that, oh man, I'm falling over shit. That there's something going on, like with humanity, to the point where like weird shit is starting to happen. And I think Sasquatch, that phenomenon, is one of the weird things. And I don't think Sasquatch or Bigfoot or Sabe or whatever you call him is a fucking hairy ape running around like mating with females, having babies. Like, nah, man, we're human. We murder, we kill, we slay, we destroy, we brutalize, we bludgeon. There's no way we wouldn't have massacred one of these fucking creatures by now. And it's just the argument to say that there's no body, or there's no proof, like with the fossil record, there's no tangible physical evidence. I know there's an argument to be made that like a bear dies in the woods, and that body, skeleton, everything is gone in like a year. The woods just reconsumes it, and it's crazy. So that might be a reason why there's no evidence, but who the hell knows? Alright guys, I just wanted to pop up here before I go night night, yo. Thank you all 11 or 12 of you up here. And Bushcrafter, it was good to meet you, man. I'll get another Eastern Shore fella to sub to you, my bad. Alright, hell yeah, dude, I appreciate it, Bushcrafter. And if anyone else is on here, I love you guys. Good night. Bushcrafter, I'll catch up with you, man. I'll drop in your comment section. And you're cool. I don't know if you're a guy or a gal, but I got good energy from you. So have a good night, and God bless you all. Stay safe. Night night, yo.